All right, let's talk about internet speed. You pay for a certain number, a certain speed, but let's be real, it almost never feels that straightforward, does it? Sometimes it's blazing fast, and other times, well, you're just staring at a loading bar. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret rules that are actually running your connection.
Think about it. You've settled in for the night, you're ready for that big season finale, and bam! Right at the best part, you get the spinning wheel of death. And it's almost always at night, right when everyone else is online. It feels personal, but what is really going on?
So is it just bad luck? Is it just too many people online at once? Well, sometimes it's neither of those things. Sometimes that slowdown isn't an accident, it's happening on purpose.
And that brings us to our big term for today, bandwidth throttling. It's exactly what it sounds like, the intentional slowing of your internet connection. And no, this isn't some conspiracy theory. It's a very real and very controversial practice.
This, of course, leads us to the big players, your internet service providers, or ISPs. They are the gatekeepers. They hold the keys to the internet kingdom, and throttling is one of their most powerful and debated tools.
Now, if you ask an ISP about this, they'll tell you it's all about network management. The official story is that by slowing down some users who are using a ton of data, they can ease up congestion on the network and make sure the service is stable for everybody else. It's their way of keeping the digital highways from getting totally jammed.
But here's where things get really interesting. That whole idea of intentionally slowing things down runs headfirst into this huge principle called net neutrality. The core idea of net neutrality is simple. All data on the internet should be treated the same. Your ISP shouldn't be able to pick and choose what gets to you quickly.
And these rules, they're called the bright line rules for a reason. They're supposed to be crystal clear. Rule 1, no blocking legal websites. Rule 2, no throttling, meaning you can't just slow down Netflix because it uses a lot of data. And Rule 3, absolutely no paid prioritization, which means creating special internet fast lanes for companies who can afford to pay extra. This right here is the heart of the whole fight.
And wow, what a fight it has been. Here in the US, it's been a total political roller coaster. The rules were established in 2015, then they were torn down in 2017, and just this year, in 2024, the FCC voted to bring them back again. It just goes to show you how deeply divided people are on this.
Okay, so we've been talking big picture, huge ISPs, national politics. But to really get a handle on how this technology works and why it's not always the bad guy, let's zoom way, way in to a place you've probably been this week. Picture it, you're at your favorite local coffee shop trying to get some work done on their Wi-Fi. Now, is it unfair for the shop owner to manage that Wi-Fi? This is where our perspective on throttling might start to shift a little bit. You've probably seen a system just like this. You buy your latte, they give you a little slip of paper with a Wi-Fi code on it, you log in, and that code gets you online. But maybe only for an hour, and maybe at a certain limited speed. Sound familiar? Yep, that's a form of bandwidth throttling too. And check this out. This is what it looks like from the other side. This is the admin dashboard. The coffee shop owner can go in here and set super specific rules. They can control download and upload speeds, decide how long the Wi-Fi code works, and even limit how many devices can use one code. It's all about granular control. And the reason they do this is simple. It's about fairness. Without these controls, one person downloading a massive file could hog all the bandwidth, grinding the internet to a halt for everyone else who's just trying to check their email. In this case, throttling makes sure everyone gets a fair slice of the pie.
So on one hand, we have this huge controversial practice by ISPs, and on the other, we have a super helpful system at a coffee shop. They seem like polar opposites, right? But believe it or not, they both operate under the exact same technical principle.
And that principle is called quality of service, or QoS. You can think of QoS as the master concept behind all of this. It's the whole practice of managing internet traffic to prioritize some data over others. The goal is to make sure that the really time-sensitive stuff, like your Zoom call or that movie you're streaming, works perfectly even when the network is busy.
Quality of service is really trying to fight three main gremlins in your connection. First, there's packet loss. That's when little bits of your data just disappear on their way to you. Then you have latency, which is just the fancy word for lag or delay. And finally, you have jitter, which is the inconsistency in that delay. Jitter is the annoying reason your video call freezes for a second and then suddenly speeds up to catch up. QoS is the tool that tries to smooth all that out.
Which brings us right back to the big question. We have all this technology that can control the flow of the internet. So is that control, at its core, a good thing or a bad thing?
But before we wrap up, let's quickly clear up one common point of confusion. Throttling is not the same as a data cap. Throttling is about how fast you can go. It's your speed limit. At data cap is about how much you can use in total. That's how much gas you have in the tank for the whole month. Two different ways of controlling things. So, here's the real takeaway. The technology itself, throttling, quality of service, all of it, isn't inherently good or evil. It's neutral. The entire debate, from the halls of Congress down to your local coffee shop, is all about intent. Is the control being used to create a fair and stable network for everyone, or is it being used to crush competition and create an unfair advantage?
And that leaves us with one last massive question to think about. In a world where access to information is pretty much everything, who should we trust with that power? Who gets to decide which data gets to fly in the fast lane and which gets stuck in traffic? That's the real secret rule of your internet speed.